Hello, everyone. We're back. We are going to pick it up where we left off in the story of the Avengers versus the Living Laser. You'll recall that Bill Foster has returned to Hank Pym's research lab to work on his size reducing problem. But before they get very far into their work, the living laser attacks. You'll recall that he shot his laser through the roof, and he announces himself. He says, "Do not be alarmed, gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. My real name is of little importance, although we know what his real name is. It's Arthur Parks, this character who now has a crush on Janet Van Dyne, and so he has a particular reason to be attacking Hank Pym. But he announces to Goliath that you may call me the living laser. Goliath realizes if that is a laser beam he's using, we're up against the deadliest menace imaginable. And then he says, "Okay, tough guy, we're all sufficiently impressed with the power that you can wield. So suppose you come down here and talk it over. That equipment you're smashing costs good money." "Well," he says, "money? What's money to me? So long as I possess my infallible laser beam, I can get all I need, whatever I want to. However, I will descend to give you a chance to surrender to me at close range." Goliath says, "Surrender? Mister, you'd better get off cloud nine. You're talking to an Avenger. We've never been beaten yet." "Perhaps, but you've never fought the living laser before." "Bill," hollers Hank, "take off. This is one time I'll be able to fight better alone. He's too dangerous." Bill says, "But I can't run out on you." "That's an order, mister. Move." And the laser keeps shooting out his power beams. "That was considerate of you, Goliath," says the laser. "Or could it be that you wanted no witness to your impending defeat? Surely you realize by now that flight is useless. See how effortlessly I can disintegrate the floor in front of you, no matter where you may choose to run." He's not just whistling Dixie, thinks Goliath, but I've got to do something. Zzz, the living laser continues to shoot out his power beams. He says, "The mighty Goliath, ha! How easily I thwart you at every turn. I admire your efforts, however bumbling, to seize some weapon to hurl at me, but notice how I can eliminate anything before you can touch it." Goliath thinks, "Weapon, my foot. I've got something else in mind." "Good. By appearing to be at a loss for what to do next, I managed to make it to the spot I want. Like so many others, his overconfidence could be his undoing, if I'm lucky." "Run, Goliath, run," cries Laser, "like the highly touted failure you really are." "Ha! In your blind, unreasoning panic," continues the laser, "you crashed right into that solid wall." "I crashed into it all right," Goliath answers, "but it wasn't in panic, sonny boy. A fella my size needs plenty of elbow room to do his fighting in, and that's just what I'm going to get. Crash!" And so Goliath pounds his way through the wall and outside. There, Laser says, "Elbow room, you call it, but you're not fooling me. Your only objective is escape, but there is no escape. My laser beam can reach anywhere." "I don't know about your beam, but your voice sure can. Reach anywhere, that is. Don't you ever give your lungs a rest?" And Laser retorts, "You have hurled your last brazen taunt at me, Goliath. I shall be merciful to you no longer." I thought your abject surrender would satisfy me, but that will no longer be enough. Now I must have nothing less than your complete and everlasting destruction. Zzz. What? A giant tree root being ripped from out of the ground right under my feet. Scrunch. And so the laser falls back. It's Goliath. He wasn't fleeing, he tricked me. Thwunk. Now stay put, mister. My inning is coming up. And Goliath took that root that he ripped out of the ground and flung it like an arrow and caught the laser's cape. Like a giant living steam shovel scoop, Goliath's mighty hand digs into the hard-packed soil below, and then he says, "First of all, I'll stop you from using that beam of yours." And there's no better way to do it than by hurling a few hundred pounds of soil at your eyes. What you can't see, you can't aim at, and what you can't aim at, you can't hit. And so Goliath throws the dirt into Laser's face. But within a matter of seconds, too bad, Goliath, says the Laser, your plan was doomed to failure. It only took one sweep of my hand to wipe my protective eye lenses clean. And now... So, you choose to hide from me, do you? You oversized fool, as if anyone as large as you could successfully conceal himself for long. I'll find you, Goliath, and when I do, your defeat shall be total and irrevocable. Anyone tell you you talk too much? And so Goliath leans over and grabs the cape. You can sure be noisy for such a corny-looking little fella. He is kind of corny, isn't he? And that cape, a bad idea. You, responds the Laser. That's more like it, says Goliath. One-word expletives are always more dramatic. Now brace yourself, because you're about to take a little fall. So he hauls the Laser up, and wham! He throws him down. Not hard enough to really hurt you, but sufficient to keep you quiet for a while. I might be able to live with your laser blasts, but those cornball threats of yours were just too much. Oh, cries the Laser. Hank, are you there? Says Bill Foster. Say something. It's so quiet. Are you okay? Bill, answers Hank, I should have figured you wouldn't go far. I'm right over here, Mr. Foster. Nothing to worry about. The Laser is sleeping it off for a while. And look, he's knocked unconscious. And Goliath thinks, with that unstoppable beam of his, it's a lucky thing he is. You know, Hank, says Bill, if this is what it takes to be the world's top biochemist, I think I'm in the wrong business. And Hank answers, being a scientist is the most fun there is, Bill. It's being an Avenger on the side that sometimes gets a little sticky. Anyway, it's never too lonely. Here comes company now. And so here comes an aeroplane. And it's Captain America. He says, we came to tell you that the police have deduced a laser beam of some sort must have been employed in that bank robbery. But it seems that you're a few steps ahead of us, Mr. Pym. And Hank says, gentlemen, meet the living Laser. Although a little of the life seems to have gone out of him at the moment. Say, says Hawkeye, if this was a costume party, that geezer would win first prize, hands down. So again, I do think the Laser is a little overdressed. And look, once again, Goliath finds a handle on the Laser's cape. If you stalwarts will put him under wraps at HQ, Bill and I will get on with our work. And so now he just brushes off the Laser and goes back to work as if nothing happened. But a few moments later, the Laser wakes up, but he said he thinks my only chance is to continue feigning unconsciousness. And Cap says, I'll say one thing for Goliath, when he tackles a baddie, he sure doesn't kid around. Hawkeye says, I can't figure out how he ever got past his laser beams, but I'm sure glad he did. Better buckle up, Cap. We'll be landing in a couple of minutes. All set, Hawkeye. And then the laser is still thinking, perfect. While they concentrate on their landing attitude, I'll have a perfect opportunity to take my leave. All I need is cut a thin, silent circle through the floor beneath me. Zzz. Hawkeye, what's that sudden hum? Well, they should figure that out. I don't know, Cap. It seems to be coming from. Hey, look over there. It's the laser. He's flying away. We were fools. We never considered the possibility of his having the power of flight. Zzz. And so he's using his laser power to propel him along. And we can't even go after him. Our ship is out of control due to the hole he blasted through the floor. Can't straighten her out. Too much forced air pouring in. We're heading for the drink. We've got to do something, Hawkeye. If we hit at this speed, it's curtains. Well, unless you know a way to sprout wings real fast, I'm open to any suggestions. Okay, here's one. Let's get this canopy open fast. Now get your bow and a suction arrow. Move, man. A bow and arrow? Did you lose your marble's wing head? Where in blazes is there to shoot at from up here? Suppose you try that big bridge tower for a starter. The bridge. What a double-dyed lunkhead I am. One suction arrow coming up, Avenger. Twang! He shoots out his suction arrow. Twang! Good shot, Hawkeye. Come off it. Who could miss something that size? Now hang on to the line and jump. I'll hold on to you. Go! And so with the suction arrow holding tight to the bridge tower, they swing along. Know something, Cap? You're a mighty handy Joe to swing along with. Boy, I wonder if old Tony Stark has those planes of his covered by enough insurance. We'd sure be up the creek if he ever lost that bankroll of his. Cap says the Avengers would continue to fight even if they were penniless. Hawkeye? Maybe so, but we'd sure look nutty going around into action on roller skates, and I agree. Money helps. Hope you've got some change with you, Cap. Speaking of money, I just remembered this is a toll bridge. No sweat, Hawkeye. Let's see if we can hitch a ride back to HQ. We've still got a prisoner to recapture. And speaking of their prisoner, or to revert to our former style, this is an ex-prisoner. He is angry. Is he not angry? Let us see why he is angry. I had him beaten and then tossed away my victory. It was my own fault, complains the laser. Next time I'll blast him with my laser first. No bragging, no sparring. And to ensure my forthcoming victory, I have actually improved upon my laser beam. Deadly as it was before, it will now be far, far deadlier. All I need is insert this special miniaturized beam spreader within 2 control units. There, everything is now firmly in place. All it needs is one final, definitive test. Ah, my beam is larger than ever. Absolutely perfect. All I could ever have hoped for. The larger the beam, the more damage I can do with one stroke. No simple banks or jewelry stores for me. This time the living laser is about to lay siege to an entire city. And so it begins, like some demonic human dreadnought. The living laser zooms through the sprawling city, intent upon proving his power in such an incredible fashion that none will dare oppose him in the future. These steel girders, the last remaining vestige of the building which once stood here, The ornate, overaged building, which is being torn down to make room for a new towering skyscraper, but it's taking them far too long to clear the site. Perhaps they'll appreciate a little help from the living laser. And so this is a building that should be demolished, and now he's going to go ahead and tear it down just to show off his power. A short time later, dazed, unbelieving eyes stare uncomprehendingly at a tableau which cannot exist, and yet which lies before them like some mad, impossible nightmare. The policeman says it happened just hours ago. A costumed man was seen flying over the site, training some sort of lethal beam at the girders. But how? How could one man, in a matter of minutes, accomplish more than a whole crew of demolition experts using bulldozers and TNT? They hadn't even planned to reach this stage for another 3 weeks. Next, at a commercial airport on the outskirts of town, all these obsolete planes slated for overseas delivery, what can have happened to them? Look, the wing, the tail, they've been severed. There's only one answer: the living laser. He's struck again. Finally, a drone vessel, slated to be towed to sea as a target ship, is sent to its final rest hours before its scheduled time. By now, the entire world will know the power of the living laser as he flies off, and so begins the second phase of my master plan, the destruction of the mighty Avengers. And speaking of the Avengers, it's time we were returning to them once more. Bill Foster asks, "What do you think the laser is up to, Hank? Trying to wreck the city, single-handed?" "There must be more to it than that, Bill. The Avengers will have to learn the answer. In fact, Hawkeye and Cap are out searching for him now, and the Wasp and I will be out joining them as soon as we can." Even as Goliath speaks, flying over the rooftops on a speedy jet scooter, we find Cap, and he says, "When I do find the laser, there's only one possible defense against his beam. Using a formula which Tony Stark recommended before his trip to Washington, I coated my shield with a special alloy. It can't resist the laser beam for long, but it can successfully hold off a short, sudden burst by an a short, sudden burst by an illuminatory refraction." There we go. While on the other side of town, a second jet scooter aids in the search. "We better find the laser soon, or it's going to look bad for us," says Hawkeye. "The newspapers will probably make a big deal out of the mighty Avengers, letting him slip right through their bumbling fingers. But look at this jet scooter. Don't you think that would be fun to fly around on around the city? Just get on your scooter and fly in the air. Wow. Not likely anytime soon." "Wait a minute. What's that? On the bridge." And so Hawkeye sees something. Someone peppering a beam at the passing cars, toying with them like he's playing a cat and mouse game. Looks like we finally found our pigeon. The laser ray's coming from one of those buildings off in the distance. It won't be hard to pinpoint it. He's sure got the city tied up in knots. Traffic is backed up, away from the bridge, for miles. Well, here is where the Avengers do their part in helping road conditions. "Okay, Winghead, coffee break is over," cries Hawkeye. "I found him. Let's get going." The Wasp says, "I've located the exact window the beam was shooting out from, Hawkeye." "Well, well, hiya, Waspy. Looks like the gang is all here." Cap asks, "Do you see him, Hawkeye?" "Sure thing, the Wasp was right, on the button. He just ducked into the basement. I have a hunch he wants us to find him. Nobody could be such a crummy hider. So here's where he gets his wish. Find yourself a parking meter, Cap, and let's go." "Let me get down there first, partner." "What's the difference?" says Hawkeye. "No one's keeping score." Have you forgotten? Answers Hawkeye. My shield may well be the only defense we'll have against him. Cap, there he is. We've got you dead to rights this time, Laser. You can save yourself a lot of unnecessary grief by surrendering and getting it all over with. Well, what do you think? Do you think the Laser's just going to surrender? Does he sound like someone who's just going to give up? I don't think so. And that's what the Laser says. What? You expect me to surrender to you? You're either joking or else you've both gone raving mad. Have you so soon forgotten that I possess the most powerful weapon in the world today? A weapon which is now about to finish two blundering Avengers forever. Oh no, this could be the last comic we read. I don't think so. Now the first to fall will be Captain America. Zzz. What? Your shield is deflecting my ray, but that isn't possible. Mister, the Avengers can come up with a defense for any weapon ever made. But then he thinks my shield's getting hot, blisteringly hot. His ray will burn through in seconds, but I can't let him realize that. Hawkeye says, let me have a whack at him, Cap. Not yet. He'll disintegrate your arrows before they can reach him. And Hawkeye thinks Cap's bluff is working. He's turning off his laser beam. I don't know how you made your shield laser proof, but it won't help you. My trap is too carefully set. Cap realizes there's laser bolts coming up from the floor below. They're surrounding us. Hawkeye says he must have been rigging this cellar up for days, Cap. Looks like we went charging into a giant-sized booby trap. If you've got any hunks of battle strategy lined up for a case like this, let's unload them, huh? It will take more than a shop-worn bit of battle strategy to save you now, brags the Laser. I have proven at last that the Avengers are not as mighty as you claim. You have merely been lucky in the past, but it will take far more than luck to save yourselves from the living Laser. Whatever it takes, sonny boy, we've got it in spades. But even as the Laser gloats, here comes the Wasp. She thinks, good thing they told me to wait behind the door. Nothing can keep the Wasp out so long as there's a keyhole handy, so she flies through the keyhole. She whispers, don't lose your cool, tigers. As soon as I can find the right switch, I'll get you both out of there. Cap whispers back, we've got to keep him busy, Hawkeye. And so Hawkeye hollers, hey, Laser, before we let you have it, is your Blue Cross all paid up? You and Captain America are whistling in the dark, Hawkeye, and you know it. Good, good, thinks the Wasp. If Hawkeye can hold his attention just a little longer. If only I could understand these things, like a man. Or like a woman who's studied electronics. There are plenty of women who know electronics, but the Wasp hasn't studied it yet. She thinks, I'll bet Goliath would have had this all figured out by now. Hey, Laser, what you looking back there for? We're over here. And then he says, I heard something like the soft flutter of wings. Of course, it can only be the Wasp. And now she thinks something's drawing me back. A tremendous air vacuum. I can't fight it. Whoosh. And the Wasp is sucked into this pipe. And look, she's being held in a jar. You see, my lovely captive, brags the Laser. This time I am prepared for anything. Wasp thinks he can't keep me in here. I'll simply enlarge to my normal size. And then, oh no, some sort of knockout gas pouring in. I'm getting drowsy. I can't think. I can't stay awake. Well, Papa hasn't been struck with a knockout gas, so I can stay awake. Cap, he outsmarted her. He caught the Wasp. There's nothing we can do till we find a way through these rays. Something tells me our time is kind of running out, pal. And the laser then says, now that I have the Wasp, my interest in you is ended. Therefore, with one flip of this switch, I'll change the angle of my lethal laser rays, bringing them closer and closer to you. Farewell, Avengers. You have just failed your greatest mission. Indeed, your final mission. Crask. He adjusts the lever, and it appears as if the lasers will take the lives away from Captain America and Hawkeye. In fact, the banner says next issue, victory. But victory for whom? For the laser or for the Avengers? Well, we'll come back together, finish our story, and we'll find out. I hope you're enjoying this saga of Avengers versus the Living Laser. The best is yet to come. Bye bye for now.